Sharks lost to the Colorado Avalanche by a final score of 3-1. So in all three matches against the Avalanche this year, the Sharks lost. Can't say I'm too surprised. You know, these two teams are on the opposite sides of the spectrum right now when it comes to winning and losing, but the Sharks lost their 8th straight game heading into the new calendar year, and just bad hockey from the Sharks. Can't really put it any simpler than that. The Sharks also lost another thing in this game. They lost Mario Ferraro, who sustained an upper body injury after a big hit, and that could put pressure on other players now to step up. Now, I mean, Ferraro, in my opinion, has been kind of a disappointment considering the Sharks extended him, and that was 2 summers ago, and he just hasn't been the guy they needed him to be. And I've always liked Mario Ferraro. I think he's a good player, a physical player, but I think now it's like we have to fill that void. Who knows how big that void will be, but I think right now with the Sharks, it's like you have these young defensemen. You have Ty Emberson, you have Henry Thrun, and they played pretty physical, pretty well in this Colorado game, but the Sharks still lost, and losing is losing. It's their 8th straight loss, but I mean, Macklin Celebrini seems like what they're going for, #1 pick in the draft, but besides the point, Colorado opened up scoring in this game. Mikko Rantanen, who has been one of the best in the NHL, scored on the power play, assisted from Nathan MacKinnon and Valeri Nichushkin, and Nichushkin would later score the game-winning goal. That would come later in the third period. Heading into intermission, it's 1-0 Avalanche, but the Sharks tied up the game on their own power play. Tomas Hertl scored on the power play. Mikael Granlund and Addison with the assist. So it's tied up at 1. The Sharks look to have momentum on their side, but no. With about 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the entire game in the third period, Valeri Nichushkin breaks open the tie, gets his 17th goal of the year, and McKinnon gets yet another assist, making it 2-1. Colorado scores on a John Manson goal, and that was on the empty net, so it's 3-1 final. And the Sharks, they dominated the faceoffs. They really got lucky in this game when it came to shots. I mean, the Sharks were outshot in this game 33-11, and were still able to stay in it, which is pretty impressive and sad at the same time. But for the Sharks, it was Kakkonen in net, 30 of 32. Honestly, not even a bad game for him, especially against a team like Colorado that has so many weapons on offense. But who knows? I mean, I'm liking Kakkonen's trade value at this point. I honestly think he's gone, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, the Sharks had a nice goal from Hertl, and can't really complain. I mean, he's been consistent this year, and I like what I see from him. But I mean, at what point does it matter when it comes to what's on the ice? The Sharks are losing, and that's a big problem. And the Sharks, they just don't look to have, they're a hardworking team. It's just there's no winning there, and it's the grit is hard to find in those losses. But the Sharks did a good job on some of the penalty killing, and I was pleased with that. It also looked that Anthony Duclair was moved to the 4th line, which is interesting. I thought an interesting decision by Quinn to do that. Especially he's been better lately, so we'll see what happens with that. I don't know. I mean, he could be moved at the deadline as well, or sooner rather than later. But Nathan MacKinnon records 2 points. So does Nichushkin, and the Avalanche get a pretty dominant win, 3-1, on the final day of 2023. The Sharks will take on the Red Wings next, and that'll be in San Jose. The Sharks will start a 3-game homestand, against some out-of-division teams, so that'll be pretty interesting, with the Wings, the Jets, and the Leafs coming up. And, those will be tough games for sure. I mean, we'll see what they can do. Maybe we'll see some young guys make some differences. Speaking of young guys, I mean, it looks like the Sharks in the prospect game when it comes to the World Juniors happening right now, I've talked about it before, are sitting pretty pretty. I mean, we talked about, all those guys over there, Haltonen, of course, Will Smith, and there's plenty of others I can talk about, but those have been the 2 big ones. And then, of course, right here in North America, one of the best players in the OHL is Quentin Musty, who was drafted this year by the Sharks, or last year, rather, 2023. So, Sharks, prospect game's looking good, and I think that's what they're building with right now, and I'm happy about that. So, that's going to do it. Sharks fall 3-1 to Colorado. Let me know your thoughts. I'll see you guys later, and yeah, go Sharks.